Hey everybody, welcome back to Moscow. Welcome back to the Moscow Mules. I'm Shay Bowes and I'm joined as per usual by the brains behind the operation, Augie. And guess what? You know, we often wind up the show with a little monologue of mine, warning about the elites dragging us into Armageddon, that the train is pulling into the final station. And it seems this week we may have been right last week. Because guess what? It seems the global elites have decided to, throw it all on the bonfire. The Middle East is aflame. What's new, you say? Yeah, but it is kind of new because lots of kind of things have coalesced to kind of make this happen, we think. Forget about the Bilderberg meeting happening about 48 hours ago and within 24 hours the place on fire. Maybe. You know, the attack on Russia's nuclear triad. Lots of kind of strange things have been happening, all moving towards a war of distraction maybe, because what's happening in the United States? Guess what? The streets are burning. Yeah, how could we get the cameras, Augie, to switch angle and move away and cast their beady little eyes on the Middle East? Well, let's set it all on fire. Let's tell Russia that we're in a peace negotiation and then bomb their bombers, blow up a few civilian bridges, kill a few civilians. Tell Iran that we're going to negotiate with them. Next meeting's next Sunday. We'll see you then. Bye. Yeah. Boom, the Israelis arrive on the scene and the whole place is burning. But this is nothing new. I think, Augie, they've been saying that this is all about Iran acquiring a nuclear weapon, right?
Almost every year, the Western media comes out with headlines saying that Iran is about to have a nuclear bomb in 1992, in 2003, in 2009, in 2010, 2011, 2021, 2024, 2025. Iran is about to have nuclear weapon made like tomorrow. So
yeah. And another thing we noticed here in the Moscow Mules was that Mr. Macron came out and suggested that it was absolutely fine that Israel start bombing the out of Iran again because they're terrified that they're going to get a nuclear weapon. They're scared of the threat that's posed to the state of Israel. But make sure, don't mention the fact that if Russia crosses the border, 1,000-kilometre long border with a country it actually shares a border with, millions of citizens with, a country that was actually created by Russia. Ask Mr. Lenin, right, Augie? They can't cross the border to tackle a neo-Nazi adoring fake regime installed by a coup d'etat, which is actively bombing and killing people in Donbass. You can't do that. No, that's an invasion. But when Israel kicks the out of Iran yet again, and everyone else in the neighborhood, don't forget the Israelis are in Lebanon, they're in Syria, they get to do whatever they like. That's self-defense. When Russia does it, it's a completely unprovoked invasion. Yeah, my ass. But let's have a listen to Bibi, our old friend, the man of the moment. You know, he's been dying for this for years, let's face it. Run the video, Augie.
If you take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations.
Augie, I guarantee it will have an enormously positive impact in the region. It's going to be great for the neighborhood. We're going to build the drug dealers a hotel. It's going to be good. It's going to be so good.
It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how do
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes.
Everybody's got to go, except Israel.
Libya too. Libya too.
Yeah. Everybody's got to go. The whole neighborhood is defunct. Except Israel. We're going to stay. Yeah. And who's supplying them with all the weapons to do the bombing and the killing, Augie?
Santa's little helpers.
Yeah. Hello, USA. And of course, wherever there's global tension, horror, war, and the potential for a humanity-ending catastrophe, there's also a little tadpole-eyed Swedish cretin. And her name is Greta Thunberg. Yes, Greta has turned up on a little boat in the Mediterranean, cruising towards Israel, making sure that everybody knew the transponder was on. Please don't bomb us. You know, I don't want to die for a PR stunt. Come on. We ran into Greta in Georgia. Have a look. She was there, yes, supporting the coup attempt against the legitimately elected government. She also turned up in Kiev, supporting the narco-Führer's dictatorship, which has killed 1 million people. Greta's a woman that absolutely hates PR, hates the publicity, wants nothing to do with it. Right, Greta? How dare you? Augie, run the video.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped
Oh, no.
in international waters by
Damsel in
the
distress
Israeli
chain.
occupational
Yeah.
forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my
I
friends,
urge you.
family,
How
and comrades
dare you?
to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the
Fraud.
others as soon
I wonder,
as
is she going to
possible.
turn up now in Tehran, Augie? Is she going to turn up in Tehran where they bomb these civilian buildings, people blown out the windows onto the streets, children dead on the streets, okay? Is she going to take a little rowing boat down to the Straits of Hormuz and arrive and say, how dare you bomb a sovereign state and massacre their entire leadership and all of their scientists? How dare you? Is she going to turn up there? What do you think? Nah, she ain't going to turn up. She's full of. And of course, back in America, even the fundamental Christians seem to love Israel. Everybody loves Israel. Everybody's on a big sort of sovereignty kick right since the big Don took office. We love America. Only American flags are going to be flown. We're having a big parade of military equipment. But what about Israel? What about the Israeli flag outside your office? Don't worry about that. Okay, what about the $250 billion in Israeli aid you've given them since the foundation of the state with the Nakba in 1948, where you drove, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and you burned all their village and killed them? Don't worry about that. That's okay. So, of course, in any political debate, the who loves Israel the most discussion has to take place. We saw it during the presidential race, right? Yeah, we saw them basically, stumbling over each other. I love Israel more than you love Israel. But even in the argument or the discussion or the campaign to become New York mayor, it's who loves Israel most. The little underground Jewish boys who were, during COVID. Remember them scurrying in that? They were, doing their thing. Remember the whole thing? Yeah, New York it's front and center. Forget about crime. Forget about the subway being. Forget about massive immigration, putting people in hotels, very expensive hotels. What matters most in New York is whether or not you're going to fall to your knees for the Israelis. Okay, that's all that matters, right, Augie?
It's America.
Run the video.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first? Left to right, Ms. Adams.
Here we go.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
I would visit the Holy Land immediately.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been
anti-Semitism is everywhere.
I would go to Israel.
Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth trip to Israel, followed by my fifth
straight
trip
to Israel.
to Ukraine,
Right.
two
Then
of our
Ukraine.
greatest allies.
Oh, yeah, of course.
fighting
Israel
on
first.
The front lines
Israel
of,
first, then
the
Ukraine.
global war on terror.
Sorry.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in?
How dare you? You'd stay in New York?
Visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately
that's the
they
end
need
of him.
to
He's
focus
finished
on
now.
delivering on
He's
their
not going to
concerns.
Israel.
Just yes or no,
You're
do you
doomed.
believe
Yeah,
in a
look.
Jewish state of Israel?
No.
This is New York the candidate debate, and they ask him, do you believe in the Jewish state of Israel?
Do you believe in the Jewish state of Israel? Yeah. Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party, right? But now it's, are you now, or will you forever be a supporter of the state of Israel? Oh, yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that. Okay, next. What's going on, USA? What's going on? And of course, completely by accident. This has nothing to do with an immediate war of destruction in the Middle East, okay? Cameras focused over here. The whole town is burning. Lots of towns are burning in the US, okay? It's going to okay? How can we get the media to turn from here over there, Augie? Any ideas? What?
Just to say that the terrorists are out there and bomb them or something.
Terrorists are out there. We got to bomb them. Yeah, because of course America's been literally on fire. Little armies of some of our foreign friends and some Americans, of course, the Democrats screaming their heads off, freaking out, putting on the usual. The Blue Hair Brigade have been completely melting down. But they've been attacking cops, dropping rocks on windscreens. That's attempted murder. Of course it is, right? And anybody then says, send in the army, send in the National Guard, protect the cities, protect people who actually have jobs. The problem is here, most of the creatures out on the streets don't have jobs. They're not paying taxes. They don't give a what happens. They don't care about what they're burning. They really don't. It's the same everywhere. Come on, let's face it. So let's have a look at good old USA, just prior to the beginnings of World War III. Very convenient, very convenient. Run the video, Augie. Boom, here we go. Yeah, so it's pretty heavy duty, right? Some mortars and sort of launchers made, Augie. They're making sort of things out of lithium batteries as well to actually fire at the cops like grenades. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's like end of days. But this has now drifted from the headlines. Conveniently, some may say.
None of this matters when Israel is in trouble.
That's
None of your livelihood, your taxes, your well-being, your sons being alive. None of this matters if Israel is in trouble.
Or Ukraine. Don't forget Ukraine. First is Israel. Second is Ukraine. And then after that comes ordinary Americans, right?
No. I think Latvia, Estonia.
Oh yes, sorry. So it's here's the table of importance. You got Israel, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, BlackRock, Microsoft, Google, and somewhere down under the chair here is you, the taxpayer. Yeah. Get on with it. Back to work. Back to work. Something else that we notice here is that it doesn't seem to be the far right, the global conspiracy. It doesn't seem to be, the anti-immigrants who are out on the street burning the cities to the ground. It never seems to be. It wasn't the Republicans or the supporters of the Republicans who were out on the street burning Teslas. It wasn't the supporters of, Republicans who were trying to assassinate the president several times, right? It was the Democrat supporters, all their NGOs flushing a lot of money in to make these little protests happen. And, when it does happen, of course, they come out immediately and tell us, we don't want any violence. We don't like any violence. But, subliminally, they're almost, Augie, what would you say, turning a blind eye. Would you agree?
There's the whole thing, Chi. They say they see no violence. Everything is peaceful. That car burning, it's a burning of peace.
I see no violence because I'm not looking over there. It's happening over there. You're talking to the hand, the face ain't listening. Run the video, Augie.
You have outliers that throw things.
Outliers that throw things. No place is burning to the ground.
And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly. I believe that the LAPD.
So the LAPD set fire to all this, right?
And they are very, very experienced in riot control. So this is something that they can handle. We do not have to have the National Guard here. We certainly do not have to have the Marines here.
I don't know. Looks like end of days there on the video, my dear.
Manufactured crisis, and we do not need the Insurrection
Everything's fine.
Act.
It's like the everything's fine here meme, the burning.
There's one thing she's right about, though, about it being manufactured crisis. And it's being manufactured by the same NGOs they've been spreading all over the planet.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. We've done a bit of work on NGOs, Augie and I, and our little crew. And those same names keep popping up, the global homo elite, Mr. Soros, they're all in there somewhere, they might not come out and say, oh yes, we would like to provide you with paving blocks. But there is an element of organization, just like the organization around the protest against Trump. Remember that? The huge organization of protests, they were funded and paid for by the Soros Foundation. So do you think the same boys, same team might be something in it, Augie?
Well, here's some bit of information for you. There's this thing called the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights.
Say that again?
The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. And it received nearly $34 million in government grants from Biden and from the state of California. That was just in 2023. Back in 2022, they received $20 million.
So $56 million. What does the Coalition for Humane Immigrants' Rights do with $60 million. Like, what exactly are you trying to do? It's like these sanctuary cities that refuse to enforce the law, the federal law that, you're not meant to come in to see. I mean, none of it makes any sense. How is funding people who are actively going to go and break the laws that you make, the same people, it's a kind of a circle of retardedness, isn't it? Now, we talk about a lot of very serious subjects here on the Moscow Mules. Now, we try to inject a bit of humor, laugh at it all a bit. But some things are more important than others. And when you're the president of the United States of America, and the world's basically aflame, Ukraine, the Middle East now kicking off, World War III is probably closer than it's been in a long time. Some things are more important than others. And one of those things that's very important is your big, beautiful parade. When you have seen the glories of Red Square, May the 9th, Victory Day, it's something else, So the Big Don wants a parade all of his own. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with celebrating the military and the army. It's a modest military background myself. But at the moment, a big military parade slap bang in the center of Washington, filling Washington with tons of tanks, armored personnel carriers, jet fighters, and armed men might not be the brightest idea of the lot. But anyway, despite that, the Big Don has, Augie, decided that it's all going to go ahead. And if you get in the way of my big, beautiful parade, you're going to be so sorry. I'll just let the tanks run right over you. I swear to God, it'll be so good on the video.
Celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protest that wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. Right. By the way, for those people that want to protest,
we're living in the Simpsons. We are in the Simpsons. We have arrived. We are in Smithfield. It's the only way you can say this is just a Simpsons
But they will be met with very heavy force. Thank you very much, everybody.
It's just unreal. Now, we like to give the Big Don a kick when he deserves it and when he needs it. We got to keep him in line, but we do love him. He's a real talent, and, he's an entertainer. And, I get in a lot of trouble for saying this. I think he's sincere a lot of the time. I think he might have bad advisors. Who doesn't? Hey, Augie. But, I think at the core, he's the kind of guy you want to sit in a long-range flight with, You want to hang out with the Don. Let's take Mr. Merz, probably one of the most, insipid, dangerous human beings at the moment involved in politics anywhere in the world. Big BlackRock guy, lots of money, flies his own plane, exceptionally linked in on a granular level with big business across Europe. And he is now the Chancellor of Germany during Germany's big rearmament. The Bundeswehr are going to rise again. We are going to roll the costs, the fields into Kursk. We're going to this, that, and the other. Yeah, you got your asses handed to you in Kursk. And you got your ass handed to you in the Oval Office too. By guess who? Our Big Don. So Mr. Merz arrives, and they're talking about June the 6th, D-Day. It was a little sideshow during the Second World War. A couple of 100,000 men landed on a beach. The Russians did the heavy lifting. But when Mr. Merz crawled as low as possible towards the Big Don, Augie, to say, thank you so much for annihilating our whole infrastructure, destroying us, bombing 12,000 million kilograms of bombs on Dresden, and frying so many babies. We love you so much for it. While fried rice was on the floor, crawling, and the Big Don turns around and says, wasn't that good a day for you boys? Yeah, it wasn't your best day. We gave you a good toasting. Correct? Correct. Run the video, Augie.
And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant. Well, in the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
He's laughing. That was not a pleasant day for you. Now, let's not forget, this all happens while Germany's remilitarization is happening. Now, this is something that a unified Germany and a post-war Germany didn't want to do. They wanted to focus on heavy industry, building those great engineering names and businesses up into a global market. And they did. They did it very well, and they did it with Russian energy. Let's not forget, cheap, reliable Russian energy, oil and gas is what fed and fueled the beating heart of the German economy, which was in turn the beating heart of the European economy. But that beating heart now is heart failure. So what are you going to do? Let's start World War III. Let's become the Fourth Reich. Now, let's have a listen to a retired German general, and he goes by the name of Wittmann. Now, you might all have a look back into your history books, those of you military history geeks like me and Augie. Michael Wittmann, you might remember him. He was the biggest tank ace of the Second World War. He came to a greasy end in a village in Normandy when he got surrounded by a group of American tanks. General Wittmann has no problem. He wants to give it all another try. Maybe third time lucky, Herr General. He's delighted that the Russians think Germany is now the engine of Russophobia in Germany. And he sees no problem with that whatsoever. And he probably sees no problem whatsoever with starting another war with the Russians. How did it work out last time for you, Herr General? History books, very useful things. Run the video, Augie.
Wenn Deutschland jetzt plötzlich als das unfreundlichste Land bezeichnet wird, wie es gerade Ihr Sender
is he showing a picture of a burning apartment building for? The Ukrainians shot down another drone and burned another building on themselves. Unbelievable. It's kind of funny, Augie, to see the Germans issuing moral guidance on war and conflict in Europe, while there are people still alive today who saw them burning their way across Ukraine and Belarus, nailing babies to the doors of barn buildings. It would kind of make you puke, wouldn't it?
Well, here's what I think, Che. It's kind of nice to know that we kicked their ass so hard that it's been 80 years and they're still mad.
Давай, Россия. We all know that nobody in Europe wants to fight this war, this phantom war against Russia. Nobody in Britain, nobody in America. Do you guys at home, do you have anybody who's queuing up to, pack their bags and head off to die in a ditch in Western Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, anywhere in Ukraine? Why would you bother? It's a war of the elites. Nobody's from their families or golf clubs or country clubs are going to die. They want you to do the dying for them, and they also want you to do the paying. Just today, the EU gave another €1 billion of European taxpayers' money to the narco fuhrer, to the most corrupt regime, a murderous regime in Kiev, bringing it up to a total of €150 billion of your money. Unreal. Meantime, what have you got to do? You've got to try to attach some glory, some interest to the young people. So how are you going to do that? In Germany, the Bundeswehr, the military, are now sponsoring football teams, football games, just like the Brits are sponsoring the European Under-21 Championship in the UK, which is going on at the moment. Anybody see this as all a bit creepy, a bit cynical? Yeah, we do. Run the video, Augie.
Deutsche Soldaten tragen den Football aufs Feld. Kein Witz. Beim Spiel Frankfurt Galaxy
gegen Paris
Musketeers 1. Juni war nicht nur der Sportkraft,
all seems kind of familiar, Augie.
Die Bundeswehr ist offizieller Partner von Frankfurt Galaxy und hat mit ihnen gemeinsam die Aktion Salute the Troops ins Leben gerufen. Das heißt, aktive Soldaten und Veteranen
Salute the Troops. I will get beaten so severely until you understand that you love Deutschland.
Respekt,
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Für alle, die mehr geben, als sie nehmen. An Frankfurt, Galaxy und die Bundeswehr, danke für diese Bühne. Und an alle Kameraden da draußen, das ist für uns Uniform.
Imagine having to go to a football match to watch a football game and have to see this shite. Nuremberg, 1936. Of course, it all gets real. It gets real. The world becomes a very small place when you're sitting in a hole, many thousands of miles away from, kilometers away from the German training ground where you were told it was all going to be okay. Yeah, this is a very interesting video where Ukrainian soldiers are actually complaining about the training they got from the glorious Bundeswehr. Yes, we will show you a glorious football game. You will enjoy it. You will have the greatest times. Then you will go, if you see minefield, you will go around the minefield. Ukrainian dude, what if this minefield's like 10,000 kilometers long? The Russians laid more mines in Ukraine when we told them we were coming in the glorious 2023 counterflop than anywhere on Earth since the Second World War. Just go around them. Go around it. But how do you go around a minefield? Just go around it. All will be fine. And then come back and we will have a football game. Jawohl, all will be klar. All will be absolutely good. Dabei. Run the video.
Dann doch eine eher unpräzise Vorstellung von den tatsächlichen Gegebenheiten auf den ukrainischen Schlachtfeldern. Wir hatten gemeinsame Übungen und da haben wir die Deutschen dann gefragt, wie geht ihr denn durch ein Minenfeld? Und sie sagten uns, wir fahren drumherum. Auf ihren Karten ist ein Minenfeld halt 200 mal 100 Meter Größe. Aber das gibt's hier nicht. Hier reden wir von Hektar um Hektar. Es ist viel schwerer hier. Die Taktik muss angepasst werden.
But Augie, let's not worry about the failure of the counteroffensive, the catastrophe in Kursk, the fact that, you know, we see Russia exchanging like 1,000 bodies of Ukrainians for like 27 Russians. You know, that's nothing to see here, Augie. You know, just look into my eyes. It's nothing happening here. Look over there. It's Greta Thunberg is about to save the Middle East. Look. Yeah. How'd that work out for the Middle East? It's on fire. So that's the end of another episode of the Moscow Mules. And judging by the way things are moving on the strategic, geopolitical global stage, there's a significant chance that Augie and I will be piles of ashes, little small ones, by the time this show airs in a couple of days' time. But anyway, we do hope we survive, and we'll be here, same time, same place next week, as we trundle along into the mines of pity and despair, and, you know, try to shine a little light of humour on what are quite dark times. We'll see you then.